Now we're recording. Hey team, hope everyone had a great weekend. As you can probably see by the background, I am on location today, so excuse a little bit of the background noise, but we will do our best to get through as smoothly as we can. Massive shout out to Northgate and North Lakes, guys. Congratulations on epic weekends. Obviously, North Lakes launching yesterday. Massive team turn up. Northgate with their, was it block party or lift party or something like that. Loved seeing the social proof guys. Loved the photos that came through. I think I had 50 notifications from you, Scotty, on Saturday evening after football. So, guys, again, congrats and keep up the great work as we've identified building that sense of community within your studios and within this bigger business is paramount to your success long term. If there's environments and communities that people want to be part of to achieve their results, then you know what, guys, you're well and truly on the right track to not just being in the industry, but being in the industry for a heck of a long time, which is fantastic. A little bit of what we're going to go through today, guys. We obviously went through irresistible offers and marketing our irresistible offers over the last couple of weeks. And I know that those that have joined in or sent me messages are working through that. Some have had some incredible success. I know Tamara's signed 10 new clients through hers. I know that Sarah's soon to launch hers at North Lakes, which we're all really excited about. Can't wait to see what these look like. But today, in particular, what I wanted to specifically go through, and even the birds are on song today, is where we're at. I mean, we're approaching second week of July. What I wanted to do today a little bit was to stop and take stock as to how you've gone with your 90-day targets, as to whether we're still on track to achieve our 90-day targets, and more importantly, our bigger business goal and our bigger personal goal. And then look at some things that we can do, obviously, to help with our planning moving forward through the second half of the year. Now, I know that obviously functional games is coming up. I know that there are some specifics from a PLC studio and functional games perspective that you guys have planned and geared around. But what I wanted to look at in particular was something that was more PT-based for those of you that are obviously doing classes and doing your own PT, building your own PT businesses within the PLC studios. So, guys, let's kick off. First thing, of course, that I do want to go through is how are you tracking? Where are you at in terms of those goals and those targets that we set? This bird's going to be a pest, isn't he? Those goals and those targets that we set around about 12 weeks ago now, which, yeah, as I say, really exciting from my perspective, guys. When was the last time you stopped and reviewed where you were at? Where was the last time that you stopped and reviewed how you were tracking from a KPI perspective? When was the last time that, guys, a bigger question here, when was the last time you stopped and reviewed your goals? Now, quite often what I see with goals is that we set them and then we forget about them. And that's why in our very first session we went through and we had our KPI tracker, we had our goals set in, and what I even encouraged all of you to do was to set that vision board so that you can have that sitting on your phone, on your desktop. You can have that staring you in the face every single time you open up the laptop, every single time you open up your phone. I think this is a really critical step, guys, for those of you that genuinely want to achieve what you've set out for this year. So I know Nick's making some great tracks with Toowoomba and now North Lakes. I know Kylie's well and truly on track with what she wants to create through PLC at Coomera. Guys, if you aren't reviewing your goals on a daily, weekly and monthly basis, and then your 90-day targets on that, again, daily, weekly, monthly basis, guys, how do you know where you're at? And how do you know that your business is growing? So what we track and measure grows. So really important, guys. First action item of this week is to go back through those 90-day targets, to go back through those personal goals if you haven't revisited them in recent times, and make sure that you're on track. Make sure that you've updated your KPI sheet. Make sure that you know exactly where you sit for the second half of this year, or as we kick off the second half of this year, because the last thing that I would want to see happen is the second half of your year be exactly the same as your first half. I think this is really critical, and I want to make sure, because what quite often happens, and just to pre-frame and preempt a little bit, what quite often happens is you'll get through this year and then you'll reset, you'll do the same thing next year, and quite often what happens is you live a life that is exactly the same year in, year out. I don't want to see that happen, guys. Review and reset those goals. Action item number 1 for this week. Number 2, and the next thing that I want to look at, I want to go into a little bit of planning with you all. But before I do that, who can give you the best feedback on your business right now? What are the group of people? Who are the group of people that can give you the best feedback on your business right now? Nick's tuned in. Nick, you can answer that one if you like. Who's the group of people that can give you the best feedback on your business right
Oh, well, probably your current team and clients and your mentor.
now? 100%. So from a client's perspective, what are some things, and Kylie's jumped in now, what are some things, guys, that we could do to get more of the thoughts and opinions of our raving fans? What could we do to ask our members for some feedback?
Surveys?
Love surveys, love questions. What else could we do?
Just ask them outright.
Ask them outright. What else could we do? There's a really cool little function in your VIP group that's called a poll. That's a plane going over, by the way. I'm very close to the airport. There's a really cool little function in your VIP groups that's called a poll. What you might like to do is even set a poll in your VIP group so that your members can jump in and answer some questions or answer those poll questions in your group. Now, ideally what we're looking for here, guys, and I make this really clear to everyone because I don't want people to take this the wrong way. When we look at feedback, what I'm asking our members to do is critique the business. So in critiquing, obviously we want some positives, don't get me wrong, but we also want some room for improvement questions in the way that we set up our feedback form or the way that we set up our poll. I know there's SurveyMonkey. I know there's some great tools out there that you can use to gauge feedback from your members. Now, the reason that I want to do this, guys, and the reason why I think this is an incredibly important step is that you guys want to make sure that moving forward this year, you have some events, some offers, some deals, and you're planning and structuring things with obviously what your members would love more of in mind. So to make your business better, to make your community better, to make your programs better, to make what you're doing even better, you know what? Let's go straight to the horse's mouth and let's see if what we're doing right now is actually working. Okay, so a couple of key questions, and you might like to jot these down. I'll put these in the chat thread as well. First thing would be, what do you enjoy most about PLC, my business, North Lakes, Toowoomba, whatever it may be? So what do you enjoy most about training with Kylie even? Okay. Second question, what results have you specifically achieved? What I want to gauge is, are my clients getting results? So let's ask them. So what results have you achieved? And this is, again, guys, where little things like this can keep you accountable to completing your accountability sessions. Okay, making sure that you've got a gauge of where everyone's at so that they can answer these questions. Okay, question number 3, ask them to rate you as a trainer. Here's a great way to get some feedback on how your performance is as a trainer. It's a great way for you to get your own little performance review. Hey guys, how would you rate me out of 10? And if I'm not a 10, what are some things I can improve on? Guys, this is critical feedback. These are people who are investing in your time and in your services, your programs, week in, week out. Ask them for their feedback, okay? Because without them, we don't have a business. Question 4 and 5, what would you like to see more of in our business? So what would you like to see more of? And they might say it might be this or that, or more work on nutrition, or could be anything. I'm not quite sure. Okay. The last one is, and the last question that I'll put through is, what can we do better? Okay. What can we do better in our business? And again, guys, I think what that gives you is a really well-rounded survey. It gives you a great opportunity to collect some more testimonials and social proof that what you do works, because you can screenshot. It's right beside me now. You can screenshot those questions and those answers and put them through. Okay, screenshot them, post them as photos. But most importantly, we get an opportunity to receive some feedback on where we're at and how we're traveling. Okay. So action item number 2 for the week is to create a little customer survey, a little feedback form for your clients or for your members. And let's ask them. As I say, I know that the functional games is coming up and you're going to have loads of your members in those from a studio owner's perspective. But more importantly, so Kylie, from your perspective with your mums, let's ask what they'd like more of. Let's ask what they'd like to see more of. Let's ask how you can be a better trainer. Let's ask what they'd like to see in the sessions and in the programming and things like that. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you can meet your market better, why not look to meet your market better? Why not look to be a better trainer? Okay. Now, what else can we do with that feedback, guys? So we get the feedback as to what our clients would like to see more of. We get that feedback as to what we could do better. What do we then want to do with that feedback? How would we implement that in our business? And I'm looking predominantly as a PT, but look, it obviously still applies from a studio owner's perspective. What could we look to do with that feedback? I'll open the floor to you two.
Like with the feedback, you'd be like creating different programs to what they specifically ask for.
Yep, absolutely. Might even be some specific workouts. What else could we do?
Use it for like what you say, like testimonials, like screenshot it, put it on social media.
Yep, absolutely. How can it help us with this? I'll open it this way. How can it help us with the second half of our year? How can it help us with our planning moving forward?
Know what we want to do more of or less of, or cut or keep.
100%. 100%. So the question for you guys, and again, this is going to be great for everyone to learn from. What are some of the things that you guys have put in place so far this year that have really worked in your businesses?
What was the question? What we have replaced?
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you guys have put in place in your businesses so far this year that you believe your clients have really enjoyed? What are some of the things that have increased the success of your business?
Mine would be like obviously like reaching out to like the mums and stuff.
Yep.
But I've just had to re-plan everything over the last couple of weeks. We've had a few roadblocks with the business, so I've got to restructure and replan for the second half of the year now.
Yep. Cool. How about you, Nick?
It's a good question to reflect on that. For us, like we've had like so much happen in 6 months.
Absolutely.
So much like good stuff. I think it's just like it's everything. Like it's the culture, it's the community, it's just being consistent with their fortnightly scans, consistent with the follow up, consistent with the value, consistent with the energy, consistent with the types of coaches that you have and how good the personal trainers are.
Yep.
You know, so I don't know. And then like PLC Voice has been great. The new sessions have been great. There's a lot of things like
And I think the key there is if there's been a lot of things, consistency now will be the absolute key. But I think the key will be, as we've just discussed, asking that, hey Dee, asking the members what they've really enjoyed most of, because what that might enable you to do is focus concentration on those more important areas, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing that I'd like to look at, and again, I'm looking at our trainers. I know you guys have your set events in place from a broader studio and PLC perspective.
Yeah.
But Kylie, what do you have planned between now and Christmas? What's coming up in your business between now and Christmas?
Between now and Christmas, we'll just be restructuring and going. Yeah, my biggest thing now is like right this minute is the restructuring of how I'm getting like my marketing and things for mums and stuff, because I don't have the playroom and things like that now. Okay. So I've lost a few, but that's okay. We all move on.
Yep. We do.
And obviously I'm currently doing another postnatal course to help with that, because I've got to change a lot of the exercises from the PLC classes to suit and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's look at a couple of things and again, I'm looking from an events perspective here. I'm looking at things that you guys might like to consider. And again, this is a generalized plan. I'm going to give you a brainstorm of ideas here, which I think you guys might implement, might not, but it's up to you guys. For me, and let's work from July. So guys, we've talked about irresistible offers and launching them and marketing them over the last couple of weeks. So for me, given that we're July at the moment, you're probably going to run that campaign for the next few weeks. Okay, so that will give us sort of mid-July. Now, of course, our irresistible offers go for 30 days. So that will take us through to the middle of September. The middle of August. I'll get my maths right in a minute. It'll take us through to the middle of August. Okay. So then what we're looking at is something for September, October, November, December. Okay. Now I know that November you've got your functional games in there. Is that right? Middle of November? Somewhere
First weekend of December.
First weekend of December. Perfect. Well, that's going to work even better. So, what ideally you might like to look at here from an events perspective, guys. Some ideas that I'll throw at you from an August or September perspective. Charity events are great. So, doing a boot camp and organising them in conjunction with a local charity, fantastic. September might even be a time where you revamp your irresistible offer and market that out as well. Again, okay, as we come into the springtime. Again, what I'm really mindful of from a marketing and promotion perspective, what we want to avoid is when we finish a campaign, starting a new one straight away. I don't want to feel like we're selling something all the time, and that's where your value and sharing that value from a results perspective, a testimonial perspective, and adding value with, hey guys, here's some really cool tips about this or some hints about that, is really important to balance out your marketing. Okay, really important to balance out your marketing. Okay, so July through August, we're looking at our irresistible offer. September, obviously, it's spring. You may look to do something that is spring-based. Again, it might be from an irresistible offer perspective. It might be from could be from a pure workout perspective. It's up to you guys. The reason that I don't want to do a challenge in September is, of course, because we know the school holidays fall end of September. Okay. Quite often what happens with school holidays is people take extra shifts or they get bumped around because people go away. I'll be honest, I think the last week or so here in Queensland in particular has been a little quieter than normal given school holiday time. And I'd appreciate that come September, so particularly for you, Kylie, I'd appreciate with your clients, they're probably going to take some time off during that September holiday break. I've got no doubt. Okay. So what that does, and Sarah's joining us now, here's trouble. What that does sort of lead me to is that October and November period being a great period for challenges. Okay. Now, do you guys run challenges through PLC? Yeah. So I'm not sure when your next one is.
Not really. Now we're just focusing on functional games. It's more the individual PTs that run their own and market their own.
Perfect. So that works in great for our PTs. Thanks, Nick, for the clarification. So that works in great for you guys. Now, the reason I love October to November, realistically, our last public holiday, those in, again, Queensland, New South Wales, falls that first Monday of October. I think that's our new Queen's birthday or something like that. Ideally, what that's going to give you is a 6 to 8 week block until December where you can run summer kickoff challenge, something to do with summer, hot, whatever it may be. I'll let you guys come up with the terminology. But for me, that October-November period is a great block for challenges. Now, December, there's a lot to cram in. And the reason there's a lot to cram in is because people are going to possibly go away. You're going to have some with Christmas parties. You're going to have some finishing work. You're going to have school finishing at some point. And again, I think it's really important to take all these things into consideration. December, you guys are obviously going to have your functional games. One of the other really cool initiatives that I like to run in December, and again, this is purely an idea, is something called 12 days of workouts. So rather than 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of workouts, where you set a little competition within your groups, within your studios.
Sorry, did you cut out?
Oh, there we go.
So you're basically like getting us to create like a bit of a marketing plan, like and pre-thinking like what's our lead gen strategies?
It's a schedule of events, absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And as I say, the reason being is that rather than making things up on the spot, let's put some things in place that we've planned specifically for those times of year where we know we're going to get the best response. Okay? Even from a PLC perspective, really like that those functional games are planned in December or for that first weekend of December, because then realistically it's going to give you guys a chance to then wrap that up, congratulate people, have your awards night and things like that, probably have your Christmas party, and then that's the year done in the scheme of things. Just as I say, December I like to look at things like your 12 days of workouts. I like to look at things like Christmas parties. I think they're really important. I know you guys will enjoy that. Ideally, what I don't want to do, however, from a planning perspective, is run a challenge through December. It's just too tough, guys. You know people are going to go and have Christmas parties. You know that it's a very festive and social time of year. Probably a good idea not to. Okay? So action item number 3 for the week is to start working on a schedule of events or an events calendar from now till the end of the year. And what that's going to help you to do is set up, again, as Nick, you've said, your marketing plan. It's going to help you to create topics that you need to speak about in conjunction with the events that are coming up. So, for example, if your 6-week challenge, so Kylie, for you, if your 6-week challenge you called a Mummy Mojo project or Project Me Time or Project Mummy or something like that, you know that leading up to that October period where the project or challenge starts, you know you want to be really having that heavy focus around why you've created the challenge and the problems that your challenge or project is going to help your mums to solve. Okay, Nick, from your other PT's perspective, they might have something that that's more summer based. They might have for some of your guide trainers, it might be more mass game based, things like that, like a muscle camp. Same sort of thing. You want them talking about why you've created the camp and some of the struggles that that's going to help to overcome. Okay. Who's got some questions for me on planning? And I'd love to open up and hear some ideas of things that you've done in the past that have worked really well. Again, what I really want to use this week for is setting up the back end of our year and having those events scheduled and that calendar scheduled. Obviously, functional games goes in there. We know that. But from a PT's perspective, what can you work in around that? How can you get some people prepped for functional games? That might be the other little initiative that you guys run through your studios as well. So, guys, feel free to bounce some ideas. I'll open up the floor.
Do you have like a template that we can use for planning?
Absolutely. That was a quick question. Absolutely. No, I've actually got the. I will send through the 12-month calendar as well. So that will even give you a head start for next year, which is cool. Okay.
And does that include like the planning events, but then should we also be planning like what videos need to be created ahead of time and when they need to be posted and what Facebook ad campaigns need to be ran? Or like, would you go to that detail?
100%. And this is why this step is most important, because quite often without having that purpose set, you're just running ad campaigns and marketing campaigns for the sake of running them, or you're bringing people through on the same stuff all the time. So what we acknowledge from, again, looking at our Gen Pop and looking at our market, we know that come September, people are going to come out of hibernation. We know that. So ideally what we want to do is have something for them, have something that excites them, have something that's going to wow them. Our irresistible offer will do that of sorts as we speak. Okay, that will be a way to bring people in. The other reason I love projects and competitions and challenges is because they're great from a member engagement perspective as well. Now, guys, here's the thing. Challenges and competitions and projects don't just necessarily have to be weight loss based. Look at the functional games. That's not weight loss based. That's who's the fittest, who's the functionally fittest, who's the strongest, the functionally strongest, etc. That's based on strength and fitness as opposed to weight loss. So, Kylie, I would say your one will probably be weight loss based because it's, again, mums and knowing your market that your mums want to lose some weight or they want to tone up. But let's say, D, from your perspective, your project might be more from a, fit babes, fit bosses. Yeah, exactly. Yours will be more of a strength and fitness one because you've just pumped your guns. We get that. But the reason behind why we're doing what we're doing is, Nick, to answer your question, spot on there, so that you know what campaigns to run, what to market when, what videos to put together, and you'll be able to develop your marketing campaign off the back of what events are going to happen in each month of the rest of this year. Okay. Who else got a question for me? Nick's thinking of one. Who else has got a question for me around events, around planning your calendar and about scheduling?
I have a question that might help Dee. So Dee's going away for a week at the end of this month, and is there something that she could be doing like before that? Because she's been holding off on starting like a program or something because she's going away. What could she be doing before then, like in terms of marketing, to lead up to that? So when she comes back from her holiday, that she's got heaps of clients. So maybe you want to explain that a bit better, Dee.
Yeah, no, great question, because that can be a sticking point with a lot. It can be a sticking point with a lot of people, and particularly this time of year. D, if you're going away the last week of this month, what I would suggest that you do is actually set the start date for your offer, project, program, whatever it is. I'd set that start date for the first week of August, and I would look to get my marketing and my pre-sales done now, so that you've got a band of clients to come back to straight away. Yeah, makes sense? So whether it was, look, I know you're more strength and fitness and conditioning based, whether it was boss girls, boss babes, I know that's a bit overused, but something like that. Fit squad, fit crew, whatever you want to call it. I'd obviously, A, devise my program now. B, launch my marketing campaign so that it runs while I'm away. And obviously, well, runs now until you're away or while you're away. And then obviously look to follow up, sell up, and then start them in August. So personally, push the button.
For your marketing stuff, like I don't know, to be honest, anything about marketing. Like, do you pay
Okay, that's why we're here.
do you like pay for Facebook ads, or do you just like post? Like how does it reach people like in the area?
Great question, and the short answer is a combination of the two. Facebook ads are great. I know you guys are well adapted and well equipped to set up your Facebook ads. I know you guys use them quite heavily with your businesses now. So
I can help you deal with the finer details of exactly setting up Facebook ads and whatnot.
Yeah, so you've got some great help with Nick on that one. The other side, of course, is the fact that you still want to be marketing organically. There is still nothing better than good, solid, value-adding organic marketing. And that value-adding comes in the form of highlighting your market's problems and showing that you know what they struggle with. It comes in showing that you actually do what you say you do. So that's you getting into the gym and lifting some heavy stuff and throwing it down, and your clients doing the same. It comes in the form of them getting great results. It comes in the form of testimonials. It comes in the form of you having and devising your program that you want to create, or the program that you are creating right now, and sharing with your market why you've created it. I think your biggest point of difference is the fact that it's not another bikini body. Someone's just spilled. It's not another bikini body program. It's something completely different, and you have a real market out there for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
So you reckon do all the back end stuff. So like write all the programming, get everything done, get the posts ready, and then
I think most importantly, know what it is you're marketing. And that's where, and Nick, to answer your question probably in a different way from before, guys, how do you roll out marketing campaigns if you don't know what you're actually marketing? Like, you can market the memberships so for those of you who are studio owners, you can market the memberships, absolutely. But for those of you who are PTs, we want to be marketing, again, the results, the outcomes, knowing that you've got an event coming up, a challenge coming up, an irresistible offer that you're marketing, etc. So you want to have that lead magnet there. You want to know what it is that you're marketing, and having that obviously purpose behind what you're doing. So D, I'd suggest you know what it is that you're marketing, number one. So create your program, know what it is, know what's included. Second step, share with people why you created what you did. Share people what it is. Share to people the benefits of what you've created, why you've created it, how it works, who's it for. And then with Nick's help, you can start to put together your Facebook ad campaign, which I would utilize a combination of some real struggles that your market have, some real struggles and problems they have. And it also link that in with how you can help and the benefits of actually being part of your program. So take people, start with people's pain points, and then obviously take them to that pleasure point within the ad, and have people signing up.
Cool, perfect.
That help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool, my pleasure. Anything else from me, guys, as to what we've gone through? Yeah, Nick?
I was going to say then, you would like, so then say for D, would you then plan out like the videos that she's going to, like the value adding videos or the workout videos that she's going to create and post, and which ones like will be the Facebook ad ones? So there will be like some just workout ones that you would boost to just the North Lakes audience, her target, just as value. And then like also like an offer video that you would follow that up, maybe like a retargeting one or something.
100%. And guys, and I think that's again the big reason why sort of stopped and taken stock a little bit today and gone, okay, let's make sure we know where we're at. Let's make sure we know where we're going. Let's reset those 90-day targets like we set 12 weeks ago. And then in doing so, let's get some feedback from our members and our clients as to, you know, how we're tracking and how things are improving and how their results are, and get them to rate us so we can get better. And then the next step from there is taking all that wonderful information and going, right, how do I make the second half of my year better than my first? And that's where we then go, okay, well, I think the functional games will be fantastic. I think moving forward from there, from your own PT perspective, I think the best thing will be, okay, let's know what events we have coming up that are specifically catered for my market. Let's have some projects. Let's have some competitions. Let's do some things that I know more of my market are going to be interested in and take interest in, which means I'll be able to grow my business. So that's the thought process behind. And then when we identify what those events are, that's how we can put our marketing campaigns together and know what videos we need, what written posts we need, what social proof testimonials, etc., that we're going to need. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Pleasure. That all makes sense, guys? Does anyone have any other questions for me? No, we're good? Good? Okay. Awesome. Nice. Take stock and let's make sure we know where we're at session today. Okay, I think it's really important that, again, guys, if we're taking the time to set goals, make sure you're reviewing them, make sure you know where you're at, make sure you know how you're tracking, make sure you're using your KPI sheet, because what you track and measure will grow. If you're not tracking and measuring it, it's not going to grow. Okay, so let's review where we're at. Let's reset any of those targets. Let's reset our new 90-day targets. Let's make sure that we're on track with our business goal and our personal goal that we set earlier in our session 1, so 12 weeks ago. Let's then make sure that we actually capture some feedback from the really important people in our business, who are our members, the people that show up session in, session out, be it for PT, semi-private, for groups, whatever it may be. Let's capture their feedback so we can pop together, again, little questionnaire, little survey, maybe something they can do online, send that through, which item 3 will help you then put together, as PTs or as studio owners, up to you guys, a structure of what you can then market moving forward throughout the rest of this year. As I say, guys, irresistible offers are fantastic. Challenges around that October, November time, fantastic. Again, offering challenges or projects or competitions that you know are going to interest your market. Okay, that you know, and that's where that feedback's so important. If you can use this to get a better gauge of what they want and where they're at and how they're progressing, fantastic. You know, that even new initiatives like changes to timetables, like changes to sessions, like bringing new sessions in, things like that. Yes, it's obviously great from our perspective that we get excited by that, but I think it's also even more important to get excited, or to get that excitement from our members as well. Okay, so if we can utilize feedback forms and things like that, it's going to help to set up an even more productive and successful back end of the year than our first. Okay. All right, and I'm going to leave you all on that note. Kylie looks like she's busy in the kitchen. Dee's pumped. Sarah's driving. Nick's on her way out to somewhere. No, Dee's cooking as well. Guys, go and enjoy your lunch or your dinner or whatever you're doing. Again, I'm going to pop through some events planners.
Thank you.
Pop through some questions around your feedback forms. Now, again, they don't need to be novels. Something short and simple will work. And as I say, guys, between now and next week, what I would love to see from those of you who are PTs, or even from a studio perspective, what events we have scheduled, what new initiatives, what new launches we've scheduled between now and, of course, the end of the year. Okay.
Does anyone have like for the feedback, like an anonymous way of doing it? Because I know, like, obviously some people are a bit funny giving.
Yeah, like, good question. If it's done in hard copy, you don't, like, people don't need to put their names on it. So if you actually create a form and print it out and get people to fill it in, that's cool. And they can leave it in a box somewhere and you just pick them up later. The poll and the survey are generally difficult to keep anonymous because obviously they're coming from people's emails or they're coming from someone's profile, so that can be difficult. But the hard copy way would be the best way to keep it anonymous, yeah. Okay. Awesome. Great job, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You have a great week.
Thanks, bye.
And we'll see you soon.